All right, so I was just speaking with a client, a one-on-one trading client, who was asking me about my own personal trading stats. This is a client that I've worked with for a while, about 6 months now. He's asking me about my hit rate, about my average win, average loss, and we got to talking about hit rate. And I was saying that my average hit rate, at least for year to date this year, it is currently May, so we're about 5 months into the year, a little more than 5 months into the year, my hit rate has been upwards of 90%, 92%. I've been able to maintain that with daily trading, multiple trades per day, trading ES and NQ futures. And one of the things I had mentioned to him was that my hit rate stays fairly high because, number one, I am so selective with my trades, but number two, the reason I don't have losses that often is because every time I take a loss, I've always assumed that I made some mistake. I either had a misread or there was something that I have overlooked. And it dawned on me that this is a little bit of an unconventional thought because modern trading education, many of the trading books, many of the tips and ideas that you see in the online trading space, essentially what it says, what it parrots, is the fact that losses are a part of the game. Losses are normal. You're always going to take losses, which in a sense is definitely true. Absolutely. I don't believe that there is a hit rate, a system with a 100% hit rate. Now, I do think you can get pretty close, as I've been able to demonstrate in my own results, but I'm not so sure that there is a system with a 100% hit rate. And keep in mind, this is purely discretional trading. It's not a mechanical system or anything like that. It is purely discretional trading. That is what I am doing. And so what it brought me to the epiphany that because I am entirely self-taught, what I had always done in my journey, in my come up, when I was kind of slogging through the mud of trying to figure out price action, trying to figure out markets, trying to develop strategies that worked for me, is I always assumed that when I took a loss, when I had a losing trade, that I overlooked something, that I made some mistake, that I didn't understand something that was happening within price action. And so because of this approach, because I have somewhat of an unconventional background when it comes to trading, no course, no mentor, nothing like that, just purely shooting from the hip and seeing what works, seeing what sticks, seeing what actually gives me that consistency that I'm looking for. And essentially, because I have always had this approach for more than a decade now, I have always just assumed that every loss that I took had some type of error, had some type of misread. And so I became literally obsessed with finding out what I overlooked. It would cause me to look at my losing trades exclusively and figure out what did I miss here that caused this trade to be a loss. And I attribute the high hit rate that I have today and that I've been able to maintain for months and months now to the fact that with every loser that I have had, I've always just reverse engineered it, picked it apart, really looked at the chart, really looked at the structure, really looked at price action, looked at everything I did within that particular trade to figure out what did I mess up, what did I miss, what did I overlook, and then from there gathering that data and applying it to my system so that I could avoid these losses in the future. And that has pretty much always been my baseline approach when it comes to losses, just figuring out where is the issue here. And now I think the issue that a lot of developing traders have today, and again, this epiphany just hit me in chatting with my client, is the fact that there is so much information out there regarding trading, and so much of it does say that you cannot avoid losers. And so when a developing or new trader takes a loss, they don't even bother looking at that loss. They don't even bother trying to extract some lesson from that loss. They're not looking over the details. They're not trying to understand what the issue with that particular trade was. All they're doing is saying, oh, that's part of the game, on to the next trade. which to a degree is good, but it shifts the focus into more so risk to reward. And you see this obsession with risk to reward, when in reality, you can get away with a lower risk to reward, a closer to 1-to-1 risk to reward, if you just increase that hit rate. And a valuable and low-hanging fruit way to increase that hit rate is to simply review your losing trades. Look for those errors, find one lesson, and take it with you into the next trade. This is how you create a system with a very high hit rate. This is how you really learn what those A+ trades are. Hope you found this helpful. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message.